In coming to Santa Cruz and wanting to start a reggae band, I looked for individual players. I found a guitarist first who also wrote songs, so we first formed a duo. And from there, once we were confident that we had enough material to actually do a whole night's performances, then we went out and got a bass player and a drummer and a conga player by E. Welcome back to Ashford Gordon from the beginning. I need to cover an incident in my life that is not music related, but had an extensive effect on my music career. In late 2002, I was alone at home on a Saturday afternoon when suddenly my chest tightened and I struggled to breathe. Pain centered in my chest made it impossible to use the phone to make a call. Frightened, I was relieved when the event seemed to pass after a couple of minutes. Cautiously, I went back to work at my desk in my home office. About 25 minutes later, a similar incident occurred, this time including profuse sweating. Just as I was about to get in the car to drive to the hospital, the event subsided again. Slightly confused, I recognized that I needed to get to the hospital. By now, the shortness of breath extended into the period after the immediate passing of the pain. I struggled out to the car and drove the 7 miles to the hospital, parked the car as near to the emergency entrance as possible, and haltingly made my way inside, where I was taken directly into an emergency bay. Blood was drawn to determine if there were cardiac enzymes present, which would confirm a heart attack was in process. Shortly, my nurse returned to give me the news. My heart was under attack. She added that I would get an A for coming to the hospital, but an F for driving myself. Talk about throwing a monkey wrench into the next 3 years of my life. This was it. My children, with the exception of Gabriel, who was on tour, gathered at St. John's Regional Medical Center in Oxnard to stand by while I underwent quadruple bypass surgery the next day. The surgery was successful, but the road to recovery ahead was fraught with mental, physical, and emotional obstacles. One side effect that I could not address for nearly a year was that I did not have the strength nor the inclination to pick up my guitar. The knitting of the bones in my sternum back together that had to be sawed open to perform the surgery took many months. In addition, the incision site in my right leg for the removal of vessels to be used to patch my arteries separated and required daily wound care to properly heal from inside the wound up to the surface of the skin, a lengthy and painful process in itself. About 2.5 years into my recovery, I finally had the strength and desire to play again. After the long, dark night of recovery, finally the light of a healthy day returned to my life. Now the question was how to return to the stage. My band had scattered to join other working combos, so where would I find collaborators, having never been big on solo performances? Enter a previous bandmate, Wild Bill Jewell, an excellent player and one of the kindest men I've ever known. Bill called to say a new group was being organized by a drummer new to Ventura, one Mike Golden, or Big Mike as I've come to affectionately refer to him. Big Mike came to town with a plan. Being unknown, he rented a lockout rehearsal space, bought a PA, and had begun researching viable venues to book. Following the call from Wild Bill, Big Mike called with a formal invitation. Initially, Mike and I found ourselves evaluating various players as we rehearsed my original tunes along with several blues and R&B chestnuts. We had gone through a number of players when at last we found magical chemistry with myself, Big Mike on drums, Mike Smith on bass, Mikey Kadnick on keyboard, and Glenn Sherba, otherwise known as Tex Burbank, on first guitar. Altogether, 4 Mikes, as my birth name is Michael, and a Glenn. We turned our attention to coming up with a name. One night during a practice at the rehearsal hall on the corner of Front and Laurel Streets in Ventura, After a couple of adult beverages, we thought, we must be a bunch of geniuses, paying all this money every month for a rehearsal space, then out at all hours of the night schlepping all this gear for peanuts. Thus the name Front Street Profits came about, with our tongues firmly planted in cheek. Indeed, I think it was drummer Dean Giles who told me many years ago that we don't get paid for playing music, we get paid to move equipment. Right from our first group of gigs at Frankie's and Zoe's, we drew well. And with Big Mike and myself working to book gigs, we were soon working the Avocado Festival, the Channel Islands Harbor Summer Music Series, and traveling as far as Glendale for well-paying private party gigs. A few years back, the Front Street Profits reunited for a fundraiser, and we have video. We offer you two tunes, Bop City and Somewhere Down the Line, featuring Michael Golden on drums, Big Mike, Mike Schmidt on bass, Mikey Katnick on keyboards and vocal, and Glenn Sherber on first guitar, myself on guitar and vocal.
This is inside of Bop City. I got a place for you to sing along. Break bread with a contentious frown. Turn back, this is a new one. Make a path to do something good. Just don't think that you're cleaning up the hood. Low riders, high rhythms, still the motion and the movement. Through troubles, do penance. Take the high road to Bop City. Take the high road to Bop City. Now listen to this. You can sing that. How. No excuses for your old blindness. There's a reason for new beginning. Make the focus all about us, not the foolish dividing. Big daydreams, small walk-ons, still the motion and the movement. Through troubles, do penance. Take the high road to Bop City. Take the high road to Bop City. But with me to spend. Token commentary, just a thing to say. All standards of misunderstanding to the dirt when they do say. East Coast tripping, West Coast slipping, still the motion and the movement. trouble. Do penance, take the high road to Bop City. Take the high road to Bop City. Cast away your life, sail away into the sands of time. Can't forget your charms. Come back into my loving arms. Maybe I'll see you somewhere down the line. No, I will see you somewhere down the line. Listen, girl. Tell the sun to never stop. Take the time to sing a song. I guarantee it won't take long. Maybe I'll see you somewhere down the line. Maybe I'll see you somewhere down the line. Come on, boys. Turn on your love light, let it shine on me. Bring me back from the deep blue sea. Take back the promises you did not keep. Leave me the feeling that maybe someday I'll see you somewhere down the line. Oh, I will see you somewhere down the line. Here we go, what? I'll see you. I'll see you. Somewhere down the line. Somewhere down the line. Come on. We are the Front Street Prophets. We want to thank you for being here for the Key to the Highway Blues Benefit. See you. I'll see you. See you. Mr. Glenn Schroeder, Mr. Mike Smitty Smith, Mr. Michael Golden, Mr. Mikey Kapnick, I'm Ashford Gordon. Thanks so much. Di Martin, next. Thank you.
Looking ahead, we'll follow as myself and Mikey Katnick take a road trip to play the East Tawas Blues Festival in East Tawas, Michigan. And we'll wind up the final installment of this series with Secondhand Blues Band in Phoenix, Arizona. See you next week for another Ashford Gordon Throwback Thursday. Bye.
Bud walked in, he sat right down, said there's a lot of pain in this town. I was wondering while he spoke if he realized that it sounded like a joke. But sis, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is.